Hi guys, welcome back to the channel for another video. I am still without makeup. You guys seem to enjoy this end of the day, no makeup, just chilling out look, because I think it's ISO life at the moment, right? We want things on social media to reflect what's actually happening in people's houses. And what's happening in my house is no makeup, no bra, pajama pants, and usually not wearing shoes for a good 22 out of 24 hours a day. I am so appreciative of your response to last week's video. It seems to have really struck a nerve about managing body image during this period with all of these external messages that we're getting about at-home workouts and changing what you're eating, and that, you know, if the supposed majority who are ordered are concerned about this, then we should be as concerned. No, it's just a reflection that diet culture has a grip on more than just people with eating disorders. So thank you so much for your response to that video. I'm so glad that it could help you. I will aim to keep making videos that are sort of within the theme of quarantine, isolation, talking about this weird period, but trying to help you guys specifically within the genre of what we talk about, obviously. I wanted to come and talk to you guys today about something that's relevant to eating disorders during quarantine and isolation, mental health during this period, and also a bit of a personal reflection for me as well. For those of you who have been around, particularly for the last 12 months, it's not been the happiest of times. It's not been the easiest of years. I would actually go so far as to say that the last 12 months of my life have quite possibly been the worst, the most difficult. That is including me having an eating disorder and going through recovery. I think the last year trumped that by some margin. And I never thought going through it, as we never do when we go through hardship and trials, that there would ever be any purpose or any use for something that was just so dark and sad and miserable and just felt like it was specific to me. Obviously, with losing my dad, the way that we lost my dad, the very traumatic way that he passed away, the months of taking care of him before he passed away from terminal cancer. It's very hard to imagine when you're going through that depth of grief and sadness that feels so specific to your experience that it could ever be useful to anybody else. But the features of the last 12 months of my life, although the pandemic is new, my life experience over the last 12 months has been very similar to what people are now experiencing because of the pandemic. The sense of isolation, the sense of uncertainty and anxiety, the fear of loved ones being sick and losing them, the fear of financial hardship and actual financial hardship, having that emotional and physical distance from your loved ones. My dad lived in America. My entire support system was in Australia. I couldn't see them, touch them, hug them. Even when my dad passed away, we couldn't have a funeral for months because we were on the other side of the world, and his whole family and most of his support system was here in Australia. So what we're now going through in this pandemic is incredibly similar to what my life has looked like for the last year. And the personal part of that, and the personal part of this video, is that even when things seem so dark and so impossible to find the positive, so impossible to find gratitude and any kind of reason for why you might go through this unbearable pain and loss and anxiety and uncertainty, like, what could I possibly do with this? What purpose could this possibly have? With my eating disorder, I felt the same way. What could I ever do with this other than see it as painful and dark and lonely and terrible? And then look at this incredible community. Look at, personally for me, what it has allowed me to do, the opportunities to connect, the opportunities to build a business and actually do something that felt so much better than what my eating disorder self ever could have predicted it could have done for me, or what it could have planned for my life. And I now feel similarly, because you guys are experiencing, and my friends and family are experiencing, a lot of the things that I have experienced over the last 12 months. Not that it's going to be easy or simple, or it's not going to be heartbreaking or devastating, but that you have reserves of strength and resilience and a capacity to take care of yourself and each other more than you realize. And that is the gift of hardship. This is someone who a month ago would have watched this video of me in the future somehow, because I'm magic apparently. But if Mia a month ago knew I'd be making this video, she'd be like, no, there is no purpose to losing our dad and the post-traumatic stress and depression and anxiety. There is no purpose to it. And then the world decides otherwise. I can do something with this. You can do something with this. That's not to say that we should seek out hardship or sadness or heartbreak. It means that we need to find the balance of taking care of ourselves through it, acknowledging that it feels awful and difficult, and also trying to find what is beneficial about it. What can we take from it that can help us now and in the future? I have been able to guide my clients. I've been able to provide friends and family with help when it comes to their fears and anxieties about when is this going to end and when am I going to get my life back and what am I going to do when this is all over? How am I going to sort of get back on track? I get that. My whole life got picked up off the track it was on and literally thrown in a different direction in April of last year. I can recognize a lot of what you guys are feeling. I can recognize a lot of what my loved ones are feeling. This is grief. This is grief for what your life was not such a short time ago. It's grief for the certainty of what you thought life was going to look like. It's grief for a world that you were used to or could rely on. And I certainly know that grief is quite a mysterious thing to navigate. There's no perfect formula to it. There is no wrong way to respond to it. Everybody has to grieve in their own way, process in their own way. The number one advice I can give to anyone experiencing any kind of grief, whether it's the loss of a loved one or the loss of their normal or their connection with people, all those things that we're experiencing at the moment, is to really manage your expectations. Manage your expectations of how you're going to respond. Be kind to yourself no matter what. Be accepting of how you respond no matter what. Be accepting of the fact that there is no timeline around those feelings. There's no timeline. There's no expectation that you should have it all figured out or turn it into some great purpose. That is something I've been torturing myself with. I have all these negative feelings. This terrible thing happened. Now I have to figure out what to do with it, or, you know, there's no purpose to it then. It's okay. Feelings don't have to have purpose. They don't have to have this outcome. They can, this being an example of that, but you are allowed to have permission to just feel what you feel right now. Feel sad, feel grief, feel it in whatever measure for whatever reasons. There's no comparison here. This is a totally unprecedented event. We're all going to have to process it in our own way. An equally important piece of advice is to talk to people. Reach out, connect, talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, talk to a loved one, whatever. Get it out, connect. If for this period you need to lean on additional resources, whether that's extra people for treatment or medication. Hi, I've been on an anti-anxiety medication since October of last year and it has changed my life. I mean, I've always been incredibly encouraging of people going on medication, but I understand for individuals that can feel like it represents something. It doesn't. Just like if you end up with a physical ailment and somebody recommends medication, and you try it and it works for you, then it's a no-brainer. Same thing for this organ. This is a part of your body as well. If it needs medication, give it medication. Cry when you need to. Scream in a pillow if you have to. Punch things that won't hurt you. Definitely don't punch people. My big recommendation is couch cushions. And yes, of course, like I've said, you have the right to feel sad, to feel grief, to feel whatever you want to feel about these changes in your life, these changes in your ability to connect, these changes in what you expected this year was going to look like. Feel that, sit in it, give yourself permission to embrace that, but at the same time, keep your mind and eye open to what it allows for. What does it give you the opportunity to sit and reflect on or work on or find gratitude for? Everything is about balance. I'm never going to be one of those toxic positivity people who are like, everything's great 100% of the time, and if it isn't, there's something wrong with you. No, life is much more complicated and at times vicious than that. It's about how we process it, how we take care of ourselves through it, and trying to always get back to some kind of even keel, right? And if all these feelings, if this period amounts to you finding meaning and purpose, that's great. I feel like finally my grief, my last 12 months has turned a corner. Not that I would ever wish for a pandemic. Probably should have put that at the beginning of this video, but not that I would ever wish for anyone else to go through anything difficult. But difficulty is inevitable. If we can use our own to help somebody else along in theirs, excellent. That's something else to look for in times like this, in experiences like this. So if you're finding it difficult to identify what you're feeling right now, it is probably grief, because grief is confusing. It is a shapeshifter. It is hard to identify. It has an indeterminate number of ways it shows up and length of time that it sticks around for. You have permission to feel it, to process it, to sit in it. Try to find any glimmers you can within it. And try where you can to share it and help other people through their own process. That is one of the greatest healers, truly. I've learnt that twice now in a big way. Once 7 years ago when I started this funny little corner of the internet, and only more recently this week when I realized that something I thought was impossible in terms of turning into something purposeful became purposeful, and went from feeling very lonely to helping me feel much more connected. So, silver linings, they turn up in the strangest of places. Also, I should mention that the TIA, a mental health foundation here in Australia, asked me to do a session for their World Wellness Circle initiative, which they're running in April. Every single day when you sign up for it, you get an email in the morning to say a new session has been released, whether it's about mind, body, or spirit. So there's yoga sessions that people do. I'm doing a session on body neutrality, other people talking about gratitude or managing anxiety. It's amazing. So you sign up, it's free. You can make a donation if you want to. You then get an email in the morning when the sessions go up. It gives you the opportunity to start the day with a really good mindset with whatever they're talking about. Just as a disclaimer, if it's something related to exercise, there are some exercise sessions in there. Please be careful about, where you are in your recovery and engaging with those sessions. But yeah, the body neutrality one will be up on their platform, I think, after Easter weekend. They want to do it in a few days because obviously people are a bit food focused and concerned about their consumption of chocolate over Easter, which you shouldn't be. Enjoy the chocolate. Chocolate is amazing. How's that for another ramble? You said you liked the rambles. Careful what you wish for. I will see you guys next week with another video. Come and find me on Instagram and Twitter under What Mia Did Next. I hope that you guys enjoy these off the cuff, whatever I'm thinking videos. If you don't, I'm sure you'll let me know. But in the meantime, please take care of yourselves and each other, and please stay safe. Okay, much love. Take care. Bye, guys.